thank you for being here because I think that's the first piece is to get yourself here, to get yourself on whatever mat or chair or whatever you're sitting on, that you show up to do the practice. And our practice today is on the vagus nerve. This actually has a little nickname as the nerve of compassion because this nerve, it has directly linked to us being resilient in our nervous system. So when stress happens, because it will happen, life is stressful, that we can bounce back quicker and we can then turn on this calming side. And this vagus nerve, wandering nerve we have, is a big proponent to this. And really, the compassion too is that when we feel regulated, we feel more trusting, we feel in a place of safety and ease. And I think this is so important to do this for ourselves so we can bring that calming, regulated self, to whatever we're dealing with in our own lives. Okay, so I thank you for being here. So we're going to So we're going to actually start with some humming breath because this one is directly related to calming. It's actually very anti-anxiety breathing practice. But the vagus nerve, this wandering nerve that begins and originates at the base of your skull, right at the top of your neck, and it comes all the way down, almost to the tailbone, comes all the way down, but there's all these nerve endings, and we'll kind of go through a little meditation on that. But of course, it first starts up here in the neck. So the nervous system loves sound, loves when you sing, especially if you sing with others and you feel a connection. But we do lots of pranayama breathing practices, and we do sigh breaths, humming breaths. All these breathing practices we can do, the ocean sounding breath, are very soothing and calming for the nervous system, especially because we're lengthening the exhale. So the humming breath does this beautifully. Okay, so let's just do one first. We'll do a little check-in. Basically, you keep your mouth closed, the lips together, and sit up nice and tall. And you're just going to hum it out just like a drone, like a drone. Just do it as long as you can for an exhale. So take a nice full breath in first. And just notice how that feels. And what did you notice as you're doing? Because I always feel it in my nasal passages, like right up here in the sinuses coming up. So you actually are stimulating in this area. And this area here too stimulates, it tones the vagus nerve, this area of your third eye. Okay, we're going to try another one. And this one, I want you to play with the sound a little bit. So the tongue, we do want the tongue up in the roof of the mouth, resting, not pressing, but just like a resting. The tongue rests up. But first, I want you to play with it with the tongue up. And then I want you, as you're continuing the humming, for the tongue to drop down and then go back up and down. And it makes a really interesting sound. And you'll actually notice the difference, okay? So join in whenever you want. Deep breath in. Now that one I didn't feel like I got it as long because I think opening the mouth expelled more air, and you might have heard that difference. Both of them are beautiful sounds, okay? But we want to, in the humming breath, specifically have the tongue up in the roof of the mouth. And that's when you feel a little bit more of the vibration coming up through your sinuses. So let's try another one. Again, making sure your tongue is up in the roof of the mouth. Okay, lovely. Now we're going to pretend we're in a beehive. And this one, I'm going to give you the opportunity to try it with your ears closed. You can take your index fingers and just on the little flaps on your ear and close them as you make that sound. It's pretty intense. If you don't like it, you can just stop, pull the fingers away, but just give it a try like you're in a beehive now, okay? Big breath in and begin. Notice how that felt. And I find it's quite ironic that this breath that is called a bee, because there's lots of people scared of bees, they're scared of bee stings. And the thought of going in a beehive, and if you've ever seen a beekeeper do it, or if you've had an opportunity to do it, which I did once, and it's a little nerve-wracking to go in when they're taking the bees out. And so we had these, no, it wasn't on our whole body, but it was over our head, and I think we had gloves. And so I find it quite ironic that this is anti-anxiety breathing practice. But I think it's a little bit to do with there's a little bit of medicine in the poison, right? Almost like a homeopathic or a vaccine. It's the same. You give a little bit of the poison in order to bring the health. And so we're going to do two more. And I just invite you to do them on your own, at your own pace, your own speed. Yours might be longer than mine. It might be shorter than mine. That's fine. Just do as long as you can with an exhale. We'll try two, and then we'll just settle in to feel that. Just let your breath find its natural rhythm. Just take this moment to feel the effects. Okay, so this actually humming helps stimulate the vagus nerve because it activates the muscles of the throat, the larynx, the vocal cords, which are directly connected to your vagal pathways. It supports a shift to calmer, more regulated nervous system state. So again, a little bit of pranayama or a little bit of a somatic exercise like this can be a great gateway into meditation. If you want, just before you get a still place, if you do want to just release your legs and then find your comfortable seat. I'm actually going to do it different today. I'm going to sit in diamond pose. Um, this is great for people who it bothers hips. Okay, but if you have knee concerns, it might not be great. Okay, all right. So as we sit up nice and tall, just bringing the vagus nerve. So we lengthen through the spine. Imagine there's a string atop top of your head. Someone's pulling you up. Your shoulders are back and down, rooting the tailbone down. And then we have this beautiful spine, and along the spine is our nervous system. Okay, and it is in some ways protected by the spine, but it's also protected with fascia that connects and wraps and bands of fascia and connective tissue. And so if you're comfortable closing your eyes to go inside, allow a deeper breath to ground you into this moment. Okay, lovely. And allow your attention to come inside as we take this journey through the vagus nerve. Bringing your awareness first right up to the base of the skull, deep at the upper spine, just where the head meets the neck. Here we begin something extraordinary, your vagus nerve. The word vagus comes from Greek meaning wandering. It wanders through the body. It travels widely through the body, carrying messages of regulation, of rest, and of recovery. And what are we recovering from? We're recovering from stress, because the moment we're stressed, we're agitated, we're upset, we're overwhelmed, we're irritated, we're frustrated. There's so many things that bring this stress, and that dysregulates your nervous system. So we return to this regulation. And so see this pathway from the base of the head. See it as a soft, even luminous pathway that begins at the brainstem and quietly descends through the neck like a branching river of awareness. So the nerve endings from the spinal column, they branch out. All these little tentacles come up around in your jaw and in your neck. So this is why doing those sounds stimulates, it tones the vagus nerves. It makes them healthy. It's almost like exercise for the nerves. You know, if we don't do anything, they atrophy kind of way. And if we're stressed and we're tense and we're tight, they actually tighten up. So it's great to give them these somatic sounds and movements and exercises to help, let them be alive. You could even do like a big yawn right now. This will be really good for the nerves as well. Fake it till you make it, a big yawn. Nice stretching. Good. And continuing our journey as it moves through the neck. Again, imagining all those branching, delicate fibers of nerves. They interact with your muscles, your blood vessels, the tissues of your throat and your voice box. They help regulate swallowing, speech, and even the subtle rhythms of breath and sound. So take just a bit deeper breath in here and make a sighing sound as you exhale. And maybe a yawn comes. Let the yawns come, let the sighs come as they need to. And then just notice this region, around your jaw, your neck. Just soften as you observe it. The jaw releases, the throat relaxes, and the neck comes to ease. And notice the breath that comes in the nasal passages and out the nasal passages. You might even feel the breath in your throat. So this is why when you slow the breath down, when you calm the breath, when you purposely make longer, slower exhales, these are all helping to tone the vagus nerve, calm the nervous system. We'll continue to follow the nerves. Down now, they come into the chest next. Here it branches towards the heart and the lungs. These pathways encourage a healthy heart rate variability. And again, by slowing down our breath, we actually increase our HRV, the heart rate variability, which is healthy. This allows the rhythm of a life to adapt moment to moment. The vagus nerve helps carry signals of safety, so the heart can slow down, can soften. It's when we're stressed or where the nervous system goes into fight and flight, the heart rate speeds up. We end up taking energy away from other parts of the body because we need that heart to either help us fight or to flight in that moment. The body says, no, we can't digest food right now. We need all that blood flow. And so when we're calm and relaxed, then the blood flow returns back to the organs, all the organs. So we can come back to this health, homeostasis in the body, which is a sense of balance. And as you notice the lungs, and again, find the breath that comes in the nasal passages and that goes down into the lungs and fills the lungs, then releases. And there's this gentle communication between your breath and the nerves. Each inhale and exhale is subtly influencing your body's sense of safety. The lungs expand and release like a tide moving in and out with ease. So just stay with the breath for a moment. Feel the breath in your chest cavity. And when you have a healthy heart rate variability, it's almost a sense of a synchronicity between your heartbeat and your breathing. Where can you relax in your body right now, just a little bit more? Let go. Okay, let's continue the journey of this wandering nerve. We're going to come down now into your stomach area, to your digestive system. It is your stomach, your spleen, your liver, your gallbladder. And so your vagus nerve is involved in digestion. Like I said, when we are dysregulated, the body says, okay, I need more energy to survive this moment. And it'll take from the stomach and other organs. So in those moments, you're actually not functioning fully. So it's to your benefit to regulate your nervous system. And not only the stomach and digestion, but to actually come into this whole area that we can call the gut. And this gut or enteric nervous system is known as the second brain. So we have the brain in our head, and this is where the nerves stem from. And they go all the way down into our gut. We're talking about in our gut here into the small intestines, into the large intestines, into our reproductive organs. And it's like the vagus nerve along the spine is like a highway of communication, a neural highway. Information is going back and forth. Interestingly, 80% of the information is moving from your body to your brain, and only 20% is from the brain to the body, which speaks of us being a somatic being. Mind is not just in the head where we sometimes picture it. Mind is in the body. We carry memories in our body. We carry traumas in our body, and so we can maybe sometimes go talk to somebody about things that are bothering us, but that's in our head, the logical part, the rational part that wants to try to, figure things out. And that's okay. We do need to figure things out sometimes or talk about it to release it. But in order to do the healing, you have to come into the somatics of the body. You need to connect it somehow with the body. So as this is what we're doing right now, we're connecting to the body. The gut, again, not only digestion, but it's also this intelligent sensory system, home to vast communities of microorganisms known as your microbiome. These living communities help process food, support immune function, and influence mood and stress responses. So see if you can imagine here in the gut, especially lower in the gut, your large intestine, this inner ecosystem as a thriving, responsive garden that's alive, interconnected, and in continuous communication with the rest of you. So all those little nerve endings that come into this whole area of your abdomen, upper and lower, sending all those messages. And the microbiome is an important part of this. Apparently, we have more microbiome in our body than we actually have cells in our body, which is quite incredible. So the vagus nerve, it acts like this quiet messenger between this inner world and the brain. And it helps translate signals across the system that's always supporting you to come back to balance, to come back to regulation. So just bring your attention back to this whole inner path that runs along your spine, at the base of the skull, through the throat, into the heart, the breath, the deep belly. Just this pathway within you. This living and intelligent nervous system. The wandering nerve of compassion. It links breath and heart and gut into one living system. That responds most clearly to safety, to presence, and to care. And so compassion is what the body remembers when it feels supported from within. So let compassion be the softness and ease in your neck, in your chest, in your belly, in your breath. And just take a moment here and actually put the palms of your hands right over your heart and your chest. So this compassionate, wandering vagus nerve that is here to support us, to help regulate, to bring us back to that balance, homeostasis, to cultivate a sense of ease, a sense of safety, and then from that place, that's where we thrive. When we're only in our sympathetic fight flight state, we're just merely fighting fires, we're just trying to get through days or moments or issues or whatever it is. But when we can come back to a regulated state, we feel calmer. We can have that compassion for ourselves, for what we're going through. And it's always here to help us regulate, return back to this place of calm and ease. So take a nice big deep breath here. If you like, make a good sound or a sigh sound. Any sound is good. And then bring your hands together in Padma Mudra. So you open up the three middle fingers like a flower, peering into the diamond light. The diamond light symbolic of your own inner light, inner truth, inner compassion. Om Mane Padme Hum. May the jewel within the lotus be realized. And then seal your palms, thumbs into your heart space. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. And I thank you for showing up to meditate today, honoring the light and compassion within you. Namaste, my friends.